Hey guys, it's Alexandra. Today we're going to be talking with Alana, who is a mental strategist. We are going to be digging into life coaching, how that's different from therapy, the skills that you can use to change your mindset. She goes more into that with her book, The Mental Breakdown, which is on Amazon. I will leave the information for that below. I hope that you will stay tuned to check out the rest of our chat, learn something new, and you can subscribe for more videos. All right, thank you.
You're not actually confused about what to do. You just need the courage to do what you know is right. Don't try to manage other people's emotions when making a decision that's right for you. Your biggest problem is expecting them to be any different than they've shown you they are. Move on and make memories with someone who cares. Time passing is not behavior changing. Just because it's been a while, don't mean they better.
So tell me a little bit about what you do with life coaching. And I am a little bit familiar with what it is, but if you want to kind of go into like what life coaching is and give me a better idea of that, that would be awesome.
Well, it's a pretty simple concept. It really is like any type of coaching that you would think about. Like, if you've ever played sports or know anything about sports, the coach is usually the one with all of the experience,
Mhm.
but they're the ones who help the players put together the right plan to be able to execute whatever their goal is, right? And so oftentimes you have players who need a coach to be on the sidelines looking at them and letting them know these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses. And based on your strengths and weaknesses and where you're trying to get to and where we're trying to get to as a duo, this is what we're going to do. And then the usually the player puts a lot of faith, if not all his or her faith, in the coach, and will typically, go along with whatever the coach says, and then also add in some things that maybe they want to tweak or change or what have you. And so that's what life coaching is about. I refer to myself as a mental strategist because it's my belief that what I do is, it's similar to life coaching, but only because most people have never heard of a mental strategist. So a lot of times when you create your own way, you slide into the things that are familiar to other people. So when you're trying to explain what it is you do, you will often use terms that people will understand
Right.
to kind of um, pull down that veil of misunderstanding, and they can be open to what you say. I tell people when they say, "What do you do?" I always say, I'm a cross between Eric Thomas and Oprah Winfrey with a sprinkling of Cardi B on top.
I love that.
Yes.
So when people come seek your help, what is that like? What process do you guys go through to kind of, when you talk about where you want to be, what are the steps that, get you guys there?
Well, people will want to work with me in different ways, in different capacities, right? Not everybody is prepared for a one on one.
Mhm.
And so I have group coaching options. I have, best possible scenario, obviously, is going to be one on one, right?
Mhm.
That's why people go to school and they hire tutors. Because if you hire a person, a one on one situation, they can tailor what they're teaching to the way that you learn, right? So, best possible scenario, best possible results would be one on one, where we get together and you and I decide whether 3 months or 6 months is the way to go. Very rarely do I do a 12-month program. I really have to see a level of commitment from the other person. And that's just because we're going to be doing this for the long haul. So I really need to feel a vibe from the other individual that, okay, they're prepared to do this for 12 months, right? And I also have to ask myself, am I prepared to work with them for 12 months? And so mostly one-on-one coaching is going to be 3 to 6 months. And then I also have a la carte, and then I have packaged a la carte. So a la carte would just be you, calling me up and getting on my schedule, um, on a random, say, Alana, I really feel like I need to sit down with you, and then we schedule one session. But then if you feel like, you know what, I feel like I know I want to do about 3 sessions with you, then I can package them up and make it more pleasing as far as, your financial commitment on that. But then I also do group coaching. And within the group coaching, there's different dynamics. There's a group coaching that I do where we chat in a group once a week. There's group coaching that I do where we chat in a group once a month. I really try to take my messages are the same. There are 0 issues that you will ever face in your life that you will not be able to get help from me on. And I'm confident of that fact. Doesn't matter what it is. I can coach you to whatever outcome you're trying to get to. And so with that, what I find is I try to tailor and have products available for people of varying backgrounds and varying levels of financial commitment, varying levels of time commitment, things like that. So each little thing that I offer is just another opportunity for someone else to plug themselves in as it feels right to them. And then ultimately, last stitch effort, or if nothing else, then you can purchase my book.
Right. And what are some of those things, some examples of reasons that people would come to you for help?
Oh, wow. So what it boils down to, a lot of people have a lot of situations, right? Specific situations. This particular thing happened to me. But if you peel away all the layers and you get down to the core of what it really is a lot of self-doubt. There are a lot of people who are not pulling the lever to vote for themselves. And there are a lot of people who are stopping themselves from living a full life that they actually enjoy because they're considering so many other people and other people's dynamics. And so really what it all comes down to, pretty much all of the conversations that I have is letting people know you're the one in charge. Why are you going to the baby shower of a coworker that you don't even like? Why are you and it's a baby shower outside of work on a Saturday that you're normally off. And so you're committing your personal time to go to a baby shower for a coworker that you don't really like very much and you don't spend a lot of time with, but you're doing it because you feel like you're obligated to do it, right? Or this is the biggest death sentence right here. Let me just get it out of the way. We do that with a lot of things. We do that with the time we spend with people. We do that with tasks on our list. I'm already up here in my office. I've already got my camera out. Screw it. Let me just go ahead and record the video. And then it takes you 5 to 12 takes to record the damn video. And you end up not even liking it and recording the one you do like 2 days later. So it's really focusing people in on making decisions that feel good for them and having the confidence to do so.
Right. And how would you kind of differentiate that from a therapy environment?
Well, therapists have a set of rules and guidelines and a governing body that tells them what they can and can't say, methods that they have to fit into in order for it to be deemed appropriate for the profession, right? Which I love because I have a therapist that I use regularly. And I also work in conjunction, in tandem, if you will, with therapists for my clients. As a matter of fact, I recommend it. When people tell me things, certain people, I recommend, have you thought about having a therapist as well as a mental strategist? So what makes me stand out the most is there are boundaries that I don't have. So I am a bit more like that best friend or that cool aunt that will call you out on your shit and she doesn't care what you think about it, right? You know that she loves you, but if she tells you you're full of shit, you know it's coming with love and you know without a doubt, I must be full of shit. And so that's the difference. I don't, a lot of times, a therapy session, a therapist will allow the client pretty much to navigate the session, right? So if a client is talking to a therapist and they're on a particular subject, and that client wants to go off on a tangent or just, spend their whole 50 minutes talking about their childhood, a therapist is very open to allowing you to do that for great reason, right? I don't, because I happen to know that you spending more time on the shit that you hated about your childhood is only recreating that feeling and emotion in you. And that feeling and emotion that is in you is creating the landscape of your life. So, for my method, and for the reasons that people reach out to me, my allowing you to spend too much time talking about things that you hated or your past is counterproductive to the journey that you and I are on together.
Hmm. And
Make sense?
how, yes, definitely. So how did you decide that this is something you wanted to do? What led you to this passion?
Well, this is really something, first of all, that I've done my whole life. And I know people say that, and you're like, okay, well, you're 44, so you've been doing it 44 years. I can remember, can I call you Alex?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can remember, Alex, being, I think you're 10 years old when you're in the fifth grade. I can remember being 10 years old and breaking it down to my fifth grade teacher on some high level, like, what you're saying is not adding up to your actions type of stuff. And I can also remember being like, I think I was like 6 or 7 at a crawfish boil. I'm from Louisiana, so that's like picnic in Louisiana. um, I remember being at a crawfish boil having a conversation with a grown woman. She was in her 50s at the time, about relationships in life. And she, you know how you say something to a kid and you just expect them to give you just a basic little answer. I remember us engaging in probably a 20-minute long conversation about life. And she was shocked at my level of understanding. And so throughout life, I've been up against obstacles insurmountable. And I had to, because I come from a community of people that don't believe in therapy, they don't believe in counseling and talking to people. They say they do, but then it's still kind of frowned upon, right? And so I got about the business of fixing myself, even at a very young age. And some of the things I think of, I have grandparents that are, very old. I have a grandmother who's 95 and she's still living her best life. And so I say that to say, I had examples of people in my life that didn't have a lot of the resources available to them that were available to me at the time. My grandmother is 95. My grandmother went to school in a one-room schoolhouse. Okay. And I would look at my grandmother and I would say to myself, well, I know for a fact she didn't have a counselor. There probably even wasn't a such thing as counselors when she was a kid. And so it made me realize that before there was this thing that is perceived that I need it to be better, there were people with problems overcoming their problems. And so that was just something I just always thought of. And then that thing grew and grew and grew. And after creating these tools for myself and spending my whole life, I mean, Alex, I would be in the grocery store by the frozen pizzas, and randomly a woman would strike up a conversation with me. My family likes to blame it on me. They say, you're the one. And I'm like, no, I go in the grocery store and I try my best to get out. But random people will stop me and say, tell me their life story. And at the end, it's the same thing. I never talk to anyone about my problems. You're the first person I've ever even told this to. Like, I can't believe, like, I could talk to you forever. And then I would share with the person my, opinion on what they should do. And a lot of the things would come to me not even based on experience. It was just a really keen understanding that I had about the situation. Like, it resonated with me. And I've been in so many random places, women and men from all walks of life who I say something to and they're like, man, I never thought about it like that. And it really all boils down to you taking charge. You can blame all the people for all of the reasons, but ain't nobody else is going to be able to change that except for you, my girl.
Right.
And so one day I'm a homeschooling mom. And one day I was walking through my kitchen having a cup of coffee, and the kids, my students, were still asleep. And I said to myself, what can I do to earn an income while I sleep? I had just closed my makeup artistry and fashion styling business, where I was a makeup artist and a wardrobe stylist. And I was doing, the mom and homeschool thing full time. But I still, I'm an entrepreneur, and it's in my blood. So I was trying to figure out what I could do to bring in some income. And I said, you know what? I'll write an ebook. That's what I'll do. And people can just download it at all hours of the night, because I know I used to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, not knowing what to do with my life.
Right.
And I was like, while I'm asleep, they can be downloading the book. And sure enough, I wrote the ebook. And when I tell you, I was shooting so small, because the thing that was the catalyst was I put together a marketing group of women in my demographic, and I emailed them a copy of the ebook, and I asked that they would read it and give me their honest opinion. And every single one of them said the same thing. It was magnificent, but it was not enough. It was like you served us something that it was like you squeezed some juice out for us that you could have squeezed out so much more. And so that's what I did. I took the book and I increased it. I added some exercises at the end of each chapter. And when I launched that book, when that book came online in December of 2018, that is when everything took off. And then only recently I got on TikTok, like everybody else's auntie got on TikTok during the quarantine. And then that launched a whole nother side of the business.
Awesome. Yeah. So what kind of connections have you been able to make on TikTok? I think that's so cool.
It is. It really has been very cool. I think one of the coolest things is people that you've looked up to during the course of your life that will comment on your content, in a pleasing way. And I don't know if you know who George Clinton is, but years ago, if you've ever heard the song Atomic Dog, years ago, there was a group called Parliament and the Funkadelics. And it's pretty, if you look it up, you'll be like, oh, I've heard that song 1,000 times before. Well, I grew up, I'm a 70s baby, and I grew up listening to that music and my parents listening to and loving that music. And one day, a pretty popular publication called The Source took some of my content and reposted it on their platform. And George Clinton commented on it. And at present, it's one of my proudest moments. Because I could actually call my parents and tell them that, and they would know who I was talking about. Anybody else, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, baby, that's nice."
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's so cool to see all these people. You see so much stuff on that app that's like there's like nothing you can't find on that app. So
it really isn't.
When I come across like such inspiring things, it's so amazing to see people interacting in that way and reaching people in that way. And it's like, as silly as stuff can be on there, there's some really meaningful things that people have to say. So, I really appreciate coming across your videos. And, what are you hoping when people come across your content? What are you hoping that they connect with or take away from that?
Mainly that you're in charge of your life. I did waste some years, and I shouldn't say waste. I say waste for purposes of the example, because I am a believer that nothing is wasted. There's no such thing as mistakes, only lessons learned. And so I believe I wasted some time thinking that it was someone else's fault. And that's not the case at all. There's nothing, believing that it was somebody else's responsibility to help me change. The truth is, it may be someone else's fault, but it most certainly is your responsibility to figure out what you're going to do with that. We can't choose our parents. We can't pick the communities that we grow up in, and that is absolutely true. I'm not saying if something tragic happened to you that it's your fault, right? But the amount of time we spend talking about how bad it was, how hard it was, and how wrong they were is very much impeding the success we're trying to achieve by moving forward and growing from those things. And so when people see my videos, they actually get things from it that I never thought about them getting. Like I'm kind of still getting over the shock that people think that I'm so positive. And I think one of those things is because I spent a lot of years of my life being told that I was negative. And really what I realized is I was talking to a bunch of people that weren't prepared to look inside themselves and take responsibility for their actions or for their life. And so it can seem like I'm being negative. And I'm just straightforward. I don't sugarcoat anything. And so when people say, God, you're so positive, that's amazing to me. And then when people often say, this is exactly what I needed at this exact moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't tell you how many videos I have with this particular comment. Oh my God, the For You page is really for you. Or I feel like you're talking directly to me.
Right.
So those are the things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's so cool that you're able to reach people in that way. And if people are interested, in your book or in scheduling something with you, where's your information? Where can people find that stuff?
Well, you can go to alanahigginbotham.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several links on there. There's a link for you to purchase the book from Amazon. However, I have a lot of followers that are interested in purchasing a signed copy of the book. And so I welcome people to direct message me on Instagram. Right now, that's the easiest way for me to connect with people. And I think people are surprised to know that I don't mind that mode of communication. Because the idea is that I am taking people. And so also I'm an adult woman who knows how to manage my own time and my own comfort level. So if someone sends me a message and I'm not comfortable with dialoguing with them, I'll either let them know or I'll let them know. So a lot of people are afraid, well, she might not, or I'm open to it. Send me a message. I'm in the stage of this platform where I can answer people. So y'all get on the good foot and send me stuff before I am in a position where I have so many followers that I can't answer everybody's message. But if you hit me up on Instagram, in my direct messages, we can chat about things. You can also order a signed copy of the book, and you can also get latest information on new courses that are coming out. I'm actually getting ready to do a free virtual book club meeting for my book. And so people that want to know about that can send me a direct message, maybe even get on my email list and work with me that way.